in Cedar Rapids QuadCon. Excellent. Having a good day?
Yeah.
Weather's so much better than it was yesterday, right? Well, welcome. Yeah, a lot of storms all over the place. So, our guest today is voice actor, scriptwriter, and ADR director Leah Clark. Please help me welcome Leah.
How's it going?
Okay, so I got just a couple warm-up questions here, and then we'll turn it over to the audience.
Sure.
So, tell us your origin story, how you got into the business.
My origin story, I love that. It's very, like a theme. My origin story. Well, I was born in North Carolina on a cold, wintry night. I lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Most of my life, and I always wanted to be an actor or singer, some kind of performer. But before I knew what that was, I just knew I wanted to be a character in movies or in things. I just wanted to be part of whatever I was watching. And when I was, maybe 10, I realized like, oh wow, those are people and that's their jobs, and I want to do that too. So yeah, that was just always my goal ever since, my wee moments. And I started doing music theater. That was my focus. I went to school for that. And I was doing a musical, and the director of the show was a voice actor. His name's Jakey Cave. He did things for Yu Yu Hakusho and like some of the earlier stuff. And then he just mentioned, oh, this Funimation is having auditions, and I think you'd be really good. You should go. And so I did, and yeah, it worked out.
Excellent, excellent. So you've got both stage acting and voice acting. What do you like about each of those types of experiences?
I feel like it's weird because I really do love the voice acting almost as much as stage, because it just allows me to kind of just focus in on the character and not have to worry about literally anything else. You can just be in that moment, and I love that. Whereas stage acting, it's months of rehearsals, sometimes weeks of rehearsals if, depending on the theater company. And then, yeah, you put it on, you gotta remember all these lines, and you gotta, remember where to go, what to say, who to talk to, what to bring in, stuff like that. So, and that's fun, and like the whole process is great. But yeah, voice acting is like, I don't know, it's like relax acting, I guess. So yeah.
So I'm of an age where I remember when anime was hard to find, and then it all of a sudden exploded,
yeah,
right?
Weird.
And so you talk to a lot of fans. Based on what you've heard, what you've observed, why do you think anime is so popular among audiences?
I've been wondering the same thing, because when I was doing it, I was just doing it for fun. Like, I had no idea that people watched it, you know what I mean? Because I had never really seen it. I mean, I've seen certain things that looked like it, but the shows that I was working on, I'd never heard of. So, yeah, I didn't know, and I think now that I know a little bit more about it, I think it's because the characters are so relatable, and I feel like the writers are able to go deeper into character development more than a lot of American writers are willing to do. And I think people need that. I think you need something to relate to, something that is so flawed a lot of times that you can go like, but then they glorify them also, So I just think it's needed, and I think people identify with that, and they just grab onto it like a friend, like somebody that understands you, I think. So that's what I would think, because I know when I do find characters that I relate to, I'm like, I want to see it over and over again. So, and I think anime just has more of those opportunities.
Who are some of your favorite roles?
I feel like I've been really blessed because I've had a lot of really cool roles, to the point where I almost felt bad because I was getting like, I felt like I was getting all the cool parts in all the shows. Like, even if they weren't like the leads, they were still like the coolest, and I felt bad about it. I was like, God, they're gonna catch on to me. Like, I don't know what's going on. But I don't know, like Toga obviously is one of my favorites. Just because I've gotten to live with her for so long. I mean, going on like 7 seasons, even though I wasn't in all of the seasons, but you know, the story goes back to that. You know, it becomes a part of you. And then Kobayashi, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, that one was a character that I just felt, you know, that was just like, oh wow, this is me in an anime, weird. Where are all my dragons? Where are my dragons at? You know, Dallas, no dragons. But let's see, I love that one. What else? God, all of them are really cool. Like Death Parade, there's a show called Death Parade. I think I had 2 episodes. I loved my character. I was like, this is the best character in the whole show. Robotics Notes, I feel like I had the best character. Dead Man Wonderland, I don't know. I loved all of them. Blair, Soul Eater. Mavis was hard. Mavis in Fairy Tail, she was hard to relate to just because it was so elevated of a character. So it really wasn't until I did Fairy Tail Zero where I got to see her origin story and know where she came from. I was like, oh, okay, now I get her. And I can appreciate her more. But yeah, beyond all that, I mean.
Well, it's a dovetail off, you said Mavis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she was hard to relate to. What was something you took from that experience that has helped you going forward as you approach new characters?
In Mavis? I think it made me a more thorough actor because it wasn't obvious, you know what I mean? It's not one of those characters you go into right away and you're like, oh, I know exactly what her, you know, story in the story is. I know exactly where she came from, you know. It's hard to, because I came into it when she was like doing the Grand Magic Games and she's, you know, I'm a guild master. Like I didn't know how to relate to that, but it got me to go deeper into it and like look it up and figure out who she was and, you know, I guess it made me just a more responsible actor. You know, I wasn't relying on the director to just tell me everything. So, and I enjoyed that process. I enjoyed learning about her. So going forward, it was like, oh, cool, another character to explore and find out who their world. So, yeah.
Are there any particular character types or genres that you haven't done yet that you would really relish the opportunity to grow into?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I want to do horror so bad. And I've had like little glimpses of it. Like I did Dead Man Wonderland for like 2 episodes, but I want more. Like I want to be the main character in a horror movie, like horror anime or something. That'd be dope.
Why is that? Like, what?
I just love that genre. It's like one of my favorites. Is suspense horror. Like I love psychological thrillers, like The Shining, like and you know stuff like that. It's like relies on story.
You're both acting, writing, ADR, directing. How have each of these different hats that you've worn informed your work on the others? What are some things that you've learned that have strengthened your approach to the others?
It makes you just better at everything in that genre. So if you're a good writer, you're going to be a better director. If you're a good director, you're going to be a better actor. You know, it all feeds each other. So, like, I started with acting, and that felt kind of helpless because you're at the mercy of your director and your character, and that's fine. That's all that's expected of you. But once I was trained for directing, I now knew what the director needed and what they were struggling to say, and I suddenly was able to, you know, help them out, like hear myself if I messed up, and I could say, oh, I can do that again, you know, or ask them like, oh wait, do you want me to do XYZ versus just letting them struggle to figure it out, you know? So, and then also just kind of knowing that it was safe to take risks in acting, because it's helpful, because they tell us that all the time in acting class, like, take risks, do the big thing, let them pull you back, but it still makes you really feel self-conscious, like if you're doing something so out of the box. You know, you don't want them to look at you like, okay, why did we hire you? But that's not true. Like, it's really exciting when an actor comes in and brings something so, you know, that you didn't think of, because it can inspire other things, you know? And as a director, I was always very grateful for that, because it was like, oh wow, yes, I didn't even think of that. So, using that, like I was able to bring that and hopefully be more helpful to directors I work with.
Is there another type of creative role that you would like to try your hand at?
Yes, I'm actually currently on the search. I want to do more games. I want to do narrative design where, you know, you just focus more on like the character and the plot, like what happens if you go this way and what happens if you do this, and you know, making the little dialogue options and stuff. So I've submitted to a few different places, so I'm hoping that's my next step forward. That's what I want to do. Ultimately where I want to end up.
Excellent, excellent. For any aspiring creatives in the audience and any of the roles that you do, what are some recommendations you would give them, or give yourself when you were starting out?
Man, just don't be afraid to feel embarrassed, because it's not embarrassed. It's your risk is you know, welcomed. You're grateful for it. If you feel like, oh, I don't want to do this because I don't know if, like, you have no idea if you're just like the perfect person. Like if you are exactly what they had in mind and no one's come through yet. You know, I've had so many times where that has been the case, where I was casting something, I remember, and somebody submitted an audition last minute, and it was like, I don't know if I should have submit because the deadline was at such and such. Just do it. because at that point, I felt like I was settling for something, and that person had put it in there, and I was like, oh wow, that's it. You now have a lead in the role. So yeah, you just never know. And take risks, be different, because a lot of times actors have the same ideas, and it's nice when somebody has something fresh. You're just a little bit more memorable. It keeps you from blending in, I guess. And just don't stop. Don't get discouraged. And if you do get discouraged, that's great. Go do something else, because it's so freaking hard. And the only thing that's going to keep you going is loving it so much that you can't do anything else. So that was advice that my drama teacher gave me in high school. Was like, if you can do anything else, if you can see yourself doing anything else, go do that. Because this is so hard. It's like rejection filled. I mean, even as writers, as directors, there's so many people that want to do it. And the odds are, I mean, if you keep going, you're gonna get it. But you just have to keep going and push through all the rejection, push through all the, oh, this person's better than me, you know. Eventually it's gonna work out, but yeah, you gotta love it. Otherwise, it'll eat you up.
What was maybe a particular lesson that you learned from one of your more senior peers that really kind of inspired you?
I learned a lot from both Lucy Christian and Colleen Klingenbeard. Lucy was just so positive with everything, and it was like you just always wanted to work with her because she was just a good person, and she just lights up the room, makes your day better just being there. So for me, like when I was directing, I was just like, oh, where can I put Lucy? You know what I mean? Just because, and she's also good. She's just talented. So yeah, just be you and be the best you that you can be, because a lot of times that's what's the most memorable, you know, and that's what keeps people wanting more. Because even if you're not right for this job or this job, it's like, oh well, we're gonna look for something for you because we just like you. So yeah.
Cool. At this point, I want to give the audience an opportunity to ask questions. So if you have one, if you want to come right up here to the center for the mics, so that we don't walk in front of the speakers with the mic.
Woohoo!
So you were talking horror. Are you talking like Overlord type horror or another type horror? If you're familiar with that.
I think more like psychological thriller.
So more like Another and stuff like that, if you're familiar with that one?
Which what?
Another?
No, what is that? Tell me, I must know.
So basically there's this class that has a set number of people, including the teacher, but sometimes there's this outlier, this extra person, and it turns out this extra person is already dead. So you have to find out who this other person is while other people in the class are just dying horrifically around you, and it gets pretty insane.
Yeah, I love it. Anything like that. I just love dark stories. Anyone else want to know stuff?
We can make it live.
Cool! hopes. Hello?
What was it like working on Kobayashi Dragon Maid?
Kobayashi Dragon Maid was amazing. It was definitely like one of my favorite experiences. I fell madly in love with all of the characters, and the way that it was written was so brilliant because they didn't try to force too much with her character, especially like the relationship with her and Toru. They didn't try to like, they just let it naturally happen, and I loved the way that it progressed, and it was just so, it was easy to just slip into for me, so I loved it.
Okay, I don't know if this was asked because I came in a little late, but...
Ask it again!
Yeah, might as well. Is there a role that you have done previously that you would like to redo or would do differently?
Oh, cool. Redo or do differently, so many. Specifically, this is so weird, but I did Claymore, and so did every female actress at Funimation at the time. I had never done at the time like a hardcore character or like a warrior or anything like that. I was constantly playing like, you know, schoolgirls or, you know, little boys or, you know, something like that. So I feel like I just didn't like the performance. I didn't feel like it was honest. I felt like it was forced. I feel like now I could do a better job. So I would like to go back and do that, if possible. Thank you.
Yes, I have a question. I mean, how do you get chosen by an anime?
To get cast in an anime? You audition. But before that, you study acting, you become an actor, and gosh, now it's a lot harder than it used to be. Now you do have to have an agent to kind of push you, because that's just, it's gotten so big as far as Crunchyroll goes and a lot of other anime studios, because they're producing so many anime at one time. They don't have, I mean, they don't have the ability to like have open calls anymore. There's just, they have to cast 10 different anime at the same time. So the easiest way to do that is just to call a talent agency and be like, hey, we're looking for this, this, and this. And then you audition through your agent, they submit it, and then your director chooses it. So, I mean, unless you're just bestie boos with one of the directors in any of the studios, you definitely have to have an agent. Faux shout. Yes.
Have you ever heard of Backstage to get a position for voice acting?
Like the listing for auditions and stuff, Backstage?
Emails for Backstage.
Yeah.
Is it real?
It's real, yeah, it is. And it's definitely, it's gonna go to the right place. I still recommend getting an agent instead of doing Backstage. Not that Backstage is like pointless, it's definitely not. I mean, who knows? Like I said, you could be the right person and oh wow, they found you through Backstage. However, I know from being a producer, the one that comes in faster, if they find that person in this batch, they're just gonna do it and go, because you just have to get it done. So you want to be in that first batch, and that first batch is coming from agencies. If we don't get it from the agencies, we're gonna go to the Backstage, we're gonna go to recommendations. But yeah, I would definitely go through agencies. And it's not hard to get an agent. I mean, if you're talented, get an agent, you know? All an agent does is just, they'll hear you and they're like, oh yeah, I have several different clients that need this type of voice. I will take them and put them in my roster. And then they just give you auditions. That's all they do. It's not, you know, it's not intimidating to get an agent. If you're talented, if you've got a demo, if you're ready to do it, you can get an agent. Faux shout.
Apologies if this has already been asked, but do you have a favorite role that you have worked on, or impactful role?
Impactful. That one's new. I mean, I think it's still Kobayashi is probably the most impactful one for me, just because it was so relatable, and it was definitely one of those ones I was sad and dreading our last episode, and those characters resonate with me whenever I see them, whenever I see people cosplaying them, or any merch that has the dragons, and I'm just like, oh, my friends, I feel really attached to that one. So I would say Kobayashi for sure.
What year did you start voice acting?
What year? I think it was 2004? It was either 3 or 4. And when I say that, I mean, I was girl B. Like, he went that way, and that was it. And I did that for about 2 years. I was background people, I was like, side people, girl B, woman A, all those for 2 years. So, yeah. But that was, I think I got my first real role, like series regular role, 2007, and that was in Negama. So that was when it was littler, and I still actually don't use an agent for my voice acting just because I came in so early, so everyone at that point knows me, and so I still get the auditions that way. But if I didn't come in 2003 ago, I would definitely, all the newbies come in through agencies. Yeah.
So, hello again.
I love your outfit. You look like you're supposed to be interviewing me. I just need you to have a trench coat and we're good. And a clipboard.
Well, I don't have one of those. He's got at least.
Oh, yeah.
But is there any lost footage of you doing your musical theater, or did you just try and bury that when you got into acting?
There is a YouTube that has my first demos on it, and then, so it has my first commercial demo, my first animation demo, and then the last one is like this clip of me doing I Speak 6 Languages from the Putnam County Spelling Bee, and it was like an audio taken from an actual show that I did. So my roommate had made it for me. But it's still on there. So yeah, I haven't taken it down.
Well, we got just a couple minutes left to wrap up here. So as we kind of end up, is there any projects you have up forthcoming that you can talk about that you'd like people to look out for?
Yes! I know that there's an anime of solo leveling, but I'm in the game of solo leveling and my character is awesome. And I just recorded a little bit more of her for the video game, so I think she's coming out in the anime in the 3rd season. So, solo leveling, watch it out for it.
Do you have any social medias where you interact with fans, where they can find you?
I do. I am Leah Clark VA everywhere. I also have a Twitch that I am starting to do Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. I haven't done it because, sad story, my sweet baby dog passed away recently, and he had little emotes on my Twitch, and he had like, you can do like cash in like 200 points, and I would feed him a treat. So it's been hard. I will try to start that up again soon, but yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Well, Leah Clark, thank you for joining us out here in Cedar Rapids at QuadCon.
Of course, thanks for having me.
And you'll be at your booth where you can ask questions.
I will.
So cool. Excellent, and thank you all for coming out for the panel.
Thanks, friends.
And thank you for coming to the con, because cons only happen because y'all come out and support it.
That's
so thank
true.
you. All right, please help me.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.